Hey there guys, welcome to another video. Now, have you ever entered a single player offline or multiplayer online race which involved a pit stop in Automobilista 2 and think you've had the pit stop all set up perfectly, and you come in, you think you've served your pit stop, and then lo and behold at the end of the race, usually on the last lap, you start getting a warning to come in, and of course you think, well, I've already been in, so you maybe ignore that warning and you get disqualified from the race. Well, as you know, if you've been following the channel, there's a new racing league been set up just last week which involves racing the minis, and we had a little test race the other night round Brands Hatch, the long circuit, and a couple of guys had this unfortunate error where they thought they'd pitted, and of course the game didn't seem to think so. So I think what's going wrong here, and let me just show you here, this is the race all exactly set up the way it was, and if we go into edit setup, now the race that we were doing was 10 laps long, so I started the race with 8 litres in the car, which would allow me to do 5 laps, so pretty much exactly halfway I want to come into the pits. And the rules in the race that we were doing the other night was you had to make a mandatory pit stop, you had to change tyres, and you had to take on fuel. Damage was up to you. However, with a 10 lap race, there's absolutely no point in getting any damage repaired. What possible damage could you really have in 10 laps? So let me go through the stages of what I did. So you go into pit strategy, and you'll see I've only got a couple, well, I've really only got one that I made for a race, another race I did on the Brands Hatch short circuit. So I need to create a new pit strategy. So create new pit strategy, give it a name obviously, so let's just call this one Brands Long. There we go. And what we can do is go in and tweak each setting that we want to. So I know I want to come in halfway through and I want to add another 8 litres. Since the race is 10 laps long, I've got 5 laps worth of fuel to start with, so I want 5 laps to finish with. If you want a little margin of error, you can always bump that up a little bit. Change tyres, yes, and important to have it on all tyres. When I was practicing during the week, I think I had it on front tyres only, which is what it defaults to. So even though I came in, as far as the game's concerned, I hadn't complied with the rules and regulations. So you make sure it's all. Damage, I just went through and selected everything to no, because as I say, unless you're driving a kind of crazy race, you are not going to sustain much damage in 10 laps that requires you to come in and get things fixed. And then save that. Now, this next stage I think is where people are going wrong. So you see now I've got the default one, I've got Brands, and I've got Brands Long, but the tick seems to have gone into default, and I think when people have set up their pit strategy, they just immediately go and hit back and start the race, and they're not actually checking that their correct pit strategy is selected with a tick. So make sure you've clicked on the new pit strategy setup that you've just created, make sure it's got that tick on it, and then click back, do any changes in your setup, and you're good to go, drive to get yourself to the grid. So I hope that helps you guys who are maybe a bit baffled about why your pit stops aren't working in Automobilista 2. If you want to see how we get on in the mini league, subscribe to the channel. If this little video has been helpful to you, subscribe to the channel, give it a little the video a little thumbs up like, that'd be much appreciated, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers for now.